If it is or if it ain't, it's going to come out.
Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is March the 7th, 2022, and today the topic is, are you satisfied? Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. You may notice that I am recording a little bit later than usual, but I mean, hey, to God be the glory to be here this morning. To God be the glory to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, to give you all the juice, and I guess to receive what I received this morning as well. Well, over the weekend, I had a great weekend. Celebrated my sister's birthday on Saturday. We went to Cut's Steakhouse and had a nice fancy schmancy little meal. With some friends and family in her honor. So that was one thing. And then yesterday, I spent a lot of time talking to my brother. Y'all gonna see him on a future episode of GSL. Kelvin, y'all have seen him before, but it's gonna be a one-on-one conversation coming up. And so after that conversation, we had a even longer and deeper conversation. But again, to God be the glory for all things. And so I had my pretty good weekend. I even got an audition that I went on ahead and pushed through to record. And so I guess I'll try to submit it sometime today. But, so I even did that for those of you all that are out there praying for my acting career. You know what I'm saying? Those of y'all that aren't satisfied with all of my endeavors that I create on my own, y'all out there praying for me to get other opportunities. And so, and I say y'all because, like, I feel like I've had this conversation with y'all. I told y'all I'm content. Like, I'm cool. Like, if God want me to make my own stuff and keep doing GSL, to God be the glory. Let's get it done. You know what I'm saying? But, there's some of y'all that out there that I guess y'all see more from me. You know what I'm saying? Or, don't let me be petty. I ain't gonna be petty and talk about or trying to crack jokes. Because, yeah, I get in jokester mode and start cracking jokes. So, aside from all that, yeah, man, great weekend. I can't complain. And, overall, I would say it was nice to kind of just get out and, just, I guess, feel like I was adulting, feeling like I was on somewhat of a date and whatnot, it was interesting. I did kind of reflect on that as well this weekend. Actually, we did a lot of reflecting this weekend. That's where some of the conversation with me and, Kelvin came in because we were reflecting on a lot of different, like, what ifs, which, hey, y'all might see some content about in the future. I don't know. But, I don't know. It was interesting. But regardless, right, I guess it ties back into this question of, are you satisfied? Because the prayer meditation today had this really, really great way of breaking down the I don't know if it's a battle, but it's like the differences, I guess, let's say the differences. So the differences between what we all strive for, which is success, and then this idea of being satisfied. So, yeah, that's where my topic and whatnot came from for today. And again, as I reflected on it, the more I reflected on it, the more I realized that, man, maybe that has something to do with, the conversation that I had over the weekend and all this other stuff. So we'll get into that in a moment. Let me see. Is there anything else I wanted to tell y'all? Oh yeah. That's that I woke up at 5:45. So let me tell y'all what happened. I guess I must have missed my alarm completely because it's scheduled. So either I just didn't hear it or I don't know. So I woke up to the I don't know if it was a dream or like the ends of a dream or a vision. I don't know. But it was like I was being, I or GSL was being trolled and or heckled. I think probably on, I guess on a site that I meet a lot of my guests through. I guess someone or either a disgruntled guest or somebody, I don't know, was heckling or trolling GSL by making all these negative comments or something. So that's what I woke up to. It was like that thought came into my mind at like in my little waking up moment. And I think I tried to like cast it away, and then it came back. And then I think that's what woke me up. And then I ended up looking at my clock, and I was like, "Oh, it's 5:45. It's been time to get up." So I don't know if the Lord just sent that as like, "Hey, girl, get on up," because my contingency plan still sleep. So so I guess He's like, by any means necessary, let me go and wake you up with some negativity. I don't know, but anyway, that's what woke me up this morning, and I went ahead and did my prayer meditation. And like I said, it was about this whole satisfied versus success thing. And here we are. Here we are. So, yeah, I felt that, I felt led to go deeper about this idea of satisfied, and as I looked up verses centered around satisfied, I came across the verses that I'm going to share with you today. Now, when I looked up the definition, satisfied says contented, pleased. And then when I looked up the word content, it says in a state of peaceful happiness. I thought it was a good definition. It's nice, warm feeling definition to hear that. But let's see what the Bible got to say. Let's see what the Bible got to say. So 1 Timothy 6:6-8 says, now there is great gain in godliness with contentment. For we brought nothing into the world, and we cannot take anything out of the world. But if we have food and clothing, with these we will be content. Uh so I found a few things interesting in this verse here. So as I was writing it down this morning, I think I started to think about like the Egyptians and those people that, buried themselves in these pyramids with all this, jewels and finery and all these different things. I guess in their minds thinking that, they were going to have these things in the afterlife or whatever the case is. So again, the Bible's clear that, you didn't come in with nothing and you ain't going to leave with nothing. Or at least nothing physical or tangible. Because that was another thought I thought about as well, that, perhaps we are rich in whatever gifts and talents and things like that God has blessed us with from birth, right? But aside from that, all this, the things that we work so hard for, especially the tangible things, right? Like the word here says, we can't take that with us. So, the other interesting thing that stood out to me in this verse as well is this concept of being content with food and clothing. It doesn't even say shelter. It just says food and clothing. I found that interesting. I feel like, well, first of all, I came across it in another verse as well this morning. So I guess I was like, oh, that's reiterated the fact that, food and clothing. I think the verse, if I'm not mistaken, says something along the lines of like, is life more than food and clothing? And I'm like, wow, is it? Is it? Sometimes I guess I don't think so highly of clothing. Sorry, I don't know, it might be a little TMI. But I mean, God, you didn't have us with clothing, originally, Uh, but aside from that, yeah, very interesting to think about life summed up in just that, food and clothing, and we got food, got plenty of clothing, so I guess in that aspect, I'm satisfied, right? I should be, very interesting thoughts this morning. Matthew 5:6 says, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Again, the prayer meditation that I listened to this morning, I guess it kind of really, really, reiterated this verse, and or maybe not this verse, but a verse that was similar. about being satisfied with righteousness and whatnot. And so, I guess, hey, I guess that's what happens when we're spiritually, I guess, thirsty and hungry. We are thirsting for things of the spirit, which is righteousness, God, that relationship and everything like that. And so, I guess if these are the things that we hunger and thirst for, then we will be satisfied, right? But then if we're hungering and thirsting for other things, then we won't be satisfied. That's what it's saying to me today. And I can say that my life has reflected that. I told y'all multiple times about, me always reaching for a goal and always going and not feeling satisfied, right? Not feeling content is the word I usually use. But yeah, and then now as I seek and thirst for the things of the spirit and do things according to that, I feel very satisfied. I feel very content and everything. Maybe even so much so where I wonder sometimes, and this was another thing that I felt like perhaps I should go deep about one day, or look into this idea of complacency versus contentment, because I want to be content, but I don't want to be complacent, and I think that's where some of the ongoing whatever that is within me that makes me keep going and striving and whatnot. I think that's probably where some of that comes from, because I definitely don't want to be content. You know what I mean? I don't want to be sitting on things that God wants me to do. I don't want to. I want to use all my gifts and talents. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be that person bearing away my talent in any aspect. So yeah, something to think about. Something to think about there. James 2:5. It says, "Listen, my beloved brothers, has not God chosen those who are poor in the world to be rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom which he has promised to those who love him?" Yeah, that's something to think about. I guess the thing that crossed my mind this morning is I guess those that are rich, right? Again, they feel like they doing all of, they have their riches and all this stuff in their own power and might, and perhaps some don't acknowledge God and whatnot. But those that are, quote unquote poor, we out here living by faith and being like, well, Lord, lead me and guide me on what you want me to do to I guess, take care of the food and clothing for me today, or whatever the case is, right? So, again, something to think about there. But yeah, I guess, it's more beneficial and better, according to the Bible, to be, poor and full, richer faith in faith versus the opposite. We'll just put it like that. So, there's a couple more verses to reflect on, hopefully, again, to encourage and inspire those of us that, are maybe struggling with satisfaction. Maybe we are so focused on success that we're not satisfied. So, and maybe in any aspect, though, whether it be, again, financial or anything like that, or it could just be with your, your life in general. It could be in relationships, it could be with anything, so I don't know, again, where you are, whoever's listening to the sound of my voice today, but, whatever it is in your life, know at the end of the day, as you seek God and as you build that relationship and as you focus your mind on righteousness, right, then it says here that you will, or you shall, be satisfied. So I hope that encourages you and inspires you this morning, because that is the juice. The Bible verse of today is Matthew 4:4. It says, "But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
All right now, God, sex, and love. Keep on spreading this morning inspiration. I love what you're doing. All right.